Hi there, hope you're well. Not sure if anyone can see me. I know it's a bit out of the blue, but I thought I'd mix two things together. I thought I'd do a live stream while getting some bench time on the Intrepid. So hopefully this will start going out to notifications. And if you're around and maybe you're building a model, you never know, or doing Saturday chores, and yeah, let me know. Let's see if we can make sure chat's working. Make sure you can hear me okay. No. So yes, if you're around, and oh, hi Lima, how are you? So yeah, let's see what happens. So I'm going to try and change a few bits and pieces on the camera settings. So let's see if this works. So what I'll do is see if we can see this. I'm going to put this down here. So rather than see my gormless face, you can see what I'm up to. So this is the focus. There you go. The Intrepid Island that I'm working on, and yeah, so I'm going to try and do a bit of photo etch work, I think, basically. It's quite time consuming, but I'm going to try and do this backwards. I've already put on a little bit of railing here and up there, and try and do a bit more. So yeah, to see if everyone's building anything, if you're up to anything this afternoon, model related or not, let me know. And yeah, we'll just fire away. I've got about a good hour or so a free space. Wife and daughter are out, so yeah, I'll try and do a bit of work. So what are you working on at the moment, Lima? 14. One thing I have noticed about this photo etch railings of the Intrepid, a helpful tip if you ever decide to build one, is as soon as you cut it off, it starts to bend amazingly. So that's just come straight off. Amazingly difficult stuff, and it will not straighten up. So if anyone's got any good how to straighten photo etch tips, I'd love to hear them, because I don't know. I tried ruler, tried weights. It's perfectly flat on the fret, but as soon as you actually come to do anything with it, of course it doesn't work. Yeah, so if you're around, I'd love to know what you're working on this afternoon or today. Anyway, it's 2:15 in the afternoon here in the UK. A grey day, start of the half-term holidays. So we had a nice morning, just a bit of spring cleaning, get the house all nice and in order for the holidays. So that goes there. So yeah. Great tools these. Have you ever used these? These are the Tamiya bending pliers. Don't quite understand why they're so expensive, to be brutally honest, but they are very useful. I'll give you that. Let's try and do this. So yeah, in the live stream the other day, obviously it's UK time I do these, so that was 8 p.m. my time, but I know that a lot of you, or subscribers at any rate, are based out in the United States or North America. So hopefully this will be a slightly different time for you. So it'll be interesting to see Who's around? That's not quite right. The last bit. I think what I might do quickly before I glue that is put this onto Facebook. See if anyone's around over there. Let's try. Can I share? Share Facebook. Try that. There we go. Good. Yes. So I'm going to crack on with a bit of this today, and then have a chilled out day tomorrow, and then yeah, on Monday we're off to Portsmouth to go on see hopefully the Queen Elizabeth aircraft carrier, working on the USS West Virginia BB-48, the 1944 one. Oh, very good. I'm not familiar with that one off the top of my head. What scale is that? Presumably 1 to 700 or 350, I'd guess. One to 700, fantastic. I need to get back into 1 to 700. I have built a couple of little tiny little ships in 700. I did a Titanic many moons ago, and a what was it? A Typhoon class submarine. Did one of those. Yes, that was quite fun. And I think actually I did intend on buying the I think it's Tamiya 1 to 700 Prince of Wales before I got the big one last year. I think I've got some photo etched for it somewhere actually. So that'll be quite good. Right, so that's that little bit. So I'm trying to do the railing. Hopefully this will focus. The railing around the top of the very top of the island. So that's that bit. That's good. All right, what's next? So we need 1.3. Do go through this photo etch railing at an awful rate. I'm not entirely sure if there's going to be enough to go around the whole ship. There's some weird maths thing in the back of my head is whirring away at the moment. So 1.3. So let's call that there. One, two, three. Up to 8 people watching now. Hello everyone, new people joining, hope you're well. Yeah, sorry it's a bit random and out of the blue and didn't put a invite out to start with, but I thought it'd just be a bit of a systems test, to be brutally honest, to see if it works. But thankfully, I had a delivery from Amazon yesterday. I've managed to get the Mac Pro back in good working order. So for those of you who are particularly interested, one of the hard drives in my RAID array. I can't remember which RAID it is, but it's the RAID where you combine disks to make one big one. One of the disks was dying, so I had to do some quick copying and pasting and moving things around. So long story short is I've now got 4 drives in there again, but I've got a that's not right. A 750 gigabyte Caviar Black. I've got and then 750 gig Caviar Black, a 1 terabyte Western Digital, and a 4 terabyte. Not entirely sure what drive, can't remember off the top of my head. Which is for the Time Machine drive. And then it came in a post yesterday, which I ordered, was a SSD drive for the main hard drive. So that's now in place. A nice shiny new 700 something or other. No, it's 250 gig SSD card. So it's my first SSD in the Mac Pro, and it works like an absolute charm. So I'm really pleased with that. That's good. Have you got any fun plans for the rest of the weekend, Lima? Right, so now on this one here, I've got a funny little round spur that I need to fold the photo etch around. Hi there, Matthew, how are you? Intrepid is coming along. Finally managed to get back onto the bench today for the first time all week, which is quite good. No, she's coming along all right. I was just saying, I think the trouble with this photo etch of the railings of the kit is it's really springy. It does not like holding its shape. It's much more complicated and fiddly than I was hoping. The normal photo etch works fine, but this doesn't want to seem to do what it wants to do. So okay, fine. Finishing your F100D. Oh, that sounds good fun, though. Right. I have a habit of talking to myself, so apologies in advance. I'm concentrating. Yeah, so really looking forward to going to Portsmouth on Monday, keeping a careful eye on Twitter to make sure the Queen Elizabeth doesn't get up and leave in the next couple of days, because it's not too far. It's about a 2-hour drive for us. But yeah, I don't really want to get all the way there and find out that she's on her way to America. That'd be really annoying. I'm not sure the museum, to be honest. We bought tickets for, you can go to 3 attractions with the tickets we've got. So it's sort of a combination. Part of the reason we go is my daughter's learning about the Victory at school, in primary school. So we're going to go have a look around the Victory, so that'd be quite good fun. And then the harbour tour is another attraction, which is where you get to see the Queen Elizabeth. So yes, we have one spare. So yeah, there could be the Dockyard Museum. I don't think I've been for many years. I think we did go with some relatives who were down in Portsmouth at university, but and we did go to the museum then, I think, but I haven't been for quite some time. Have you been? Oh, that's worked remarkably well. Yeah, I enjoyed the tour. Last time I've been twice now that I remember. The first time we saw the HMS Illustrious, which is quite good, before it got shipped off and scrapped. And then the second time we saw a load of Type 45 destroyers, and I think one from the Saudi Navy, if I remember correctly. But and the Japanese Navy were visiting when you went. Wow, that sounds good. What did you see? Yeah, and fun fact. So while the Victory is next to the Warrior, down in Pembrokeshire, where my dad was born and my mum and dad live now, the Warrior was moored on the river quite close to them for 30 odd years. So that was quite good to be able to sort of get up close to that, my dad used to say when he was little. Okay, so that's that railing on the top done. See if you can see that. It's hard to show in this slide. On here, so that's good. So what's left? So let's try and do that bit's okay. So yeah, I think next is, this is really hard to do upside down. So next I'm going to try and do, there's a bit there to do, a bit there to do, a bit there to do, and one big bit there to do. And then, yeah, I'm going to get to the point soon where I'm going to try and start painting this up. I think would be quite good. Right, so let's have a look. So we need roughly, not quite 4 centimeters. Okay. Yeah, okay, so we can cut all this boom bit off. Yeah, so looking forward to that. So it's going to be an early start. Get up, have some light breakfast for Madam, little daughter, and get going in the car. And then I think, yeah, we're going to try and sort of have breakfast there, because the good thing about going to university down there is I know exactly where to park and where to go for breakfast, and not just the touristy places, like the really good, decent cafes. So that'd be quite good fun. And then have a, see how we're doing for time, but have a drive around, see the old places we used to go. Our halls, well, actually, no, tell a lie. Our Students' Union is no longer in there. It's been knocked down and turned into a car park, is off and away. But the new one's there. Might sort of stick ahead in then. Oh, you did the Revel Russian Gangoot. Ah, I did a review of that for Model Shipwrights many moons ago. I'll have to send you the link round. And a destroyer and a training ship on the tour. Oh, fantastic! That's very good. Yeah, so you can see this really, this photo etch does not like being cut off. As soon as you cut it, try and get a good angle, it just curves. See, against my jumper. So that's straight away really irritating. Don't know why that is. I've heard of people sort of using a blowtorch or something to heat the photo etch and make it less springy, but I haven't got one of those. It sounds quite serious. Just have to stick to the ruler, stick to the flat metal ruler. Go with what I know. So what time is it where you are in the world, just out of interest? That's so springy. Will not lie straight. "2:30 in the afternoon, Matthew. Are you in Britain then, I'm guessing?" Aha. Whereabouts? I'm in Buckinghamshire. Really? How funny. She's going to take to the Norfolk Naval Base in Virginia. Wow, that's where a lot of the big American warships live, don't they? Until the Gerald Ford. Oh, very cool. Chesham. I'm in Aylesbury. My wife used to work in Chesham. That's a very small world. Are you going to the model craft in Milton Keynes? Should be driving. Well, if you do decide to go, let me know. I'm going to go this year. Went last year for the first time. It's quite good fun. Hopefully my brother's going to come with me this year. But yeah, let me know. Yeah, we don't really get the opportunity to see many warships floating around out there, Lena, like you say. It's sort of Portsmouth or bust, really, for us. Hi, Joshua. Thanks for the wave. How are you today? Are you working on anything exciting this afternoon? What historical warships do you have in the UK? Well, there's a good couple. There's the Warrior, the Victory, obviously. There's the Cuddy Sark. I'm sure there's others. Oh, there's the HMS Belfast on the Thames in London. So quite a few. Just we don't have quite so many aircraft carriers as you, obviously, over there in America. I'm currently working the F4F Wildcat. Ooh, that sounds good fun. Good kit. Try and scrape some of the dried up glue even off of these fellas. Right, so let's put this on. This is going to be very fiddly, you can tell already. Oh, a little thumbs up from someone out there. Thank you very much. So just out of interest, I'm assuming the fact that you stumbled across me is the fact that you got a notification from YouTube as for a new video. Presumably you're subscribers. It's not a problem if you're not, just asking. Just trying to work out how these things work, to be honest. Folded wings and some crazy landing gear. Yeah, a couple of joining issues. Yeah, I hate those. Anything you have to work at for too long bugs me. It's always a bit hit and miss Airfix, I find. Like one kit I built, the illustrious behind me, is an Airfix, and it's all right. It's not the best, but it's not the worst kit I've ever built. But crikey, the Ark Royal I stuck together, admittedly fairly quickly, a week or so ago. I'm going to do another video on how I sort of paint these ships. It's not the definitive guide, but it's just people have asked me how I do it. It's just possibly the worst kit I've ever built in my life. Oh wow, that sounds good, Mark. I've seen the Sullivans on lots of model shop pages, web pages, sorry. Might be a nice kit to build one day, something a bit different. Okay, let's try this. Oh, that's coming along. So there's one side. Hopefully you can focus. Come on. It's not too bad focus, is it? So that's that side. And then have a look at the railing we've just done is here. That's better. Catch the light. So next is the really annoying hard bit of going around this walkway here. That's going to be mega hard to do. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that's it. So that's there. Oh, I'm just looking at some reference photos in the background. That's on. That's on. Yes, yes. Oh, I know. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Joshua. Okay, so in the square, let's go check out there. And on there. Airfix are leasing tanks. No, I hadn't seen that. Which tanks are they doing? Valentine's Day was... Wow. Valentine's Day was Bismarck's birthday. I did not know that. And Intrepid hit on Valentine's Day as well. Crikey. Valentine's Day is a fun day for ships then, isn't it, by the sounds of it? So let me go there. 20 or so new tanks. Big Shot fans were selling an Airfix 1 to 24th Spitfire. Ooh. Got it for £30. Wow, that's quite a saving. They're normally much more expensive than that, I'm sure. Especially 1 to 24 scale, crikey. Have you built it yet? Matthew, sorry, I pressed the wrong button. Could you paste that link for the tanks again? Sorry, I deleted it by mistake. Thank you. So, a look-see. A panther, a tiger. Well, there's quite a few. Do you think they're going to give Tamiya and Trumpeter and the big guys a run for their money? They don't say they're new tooling, so I'm wondering where they're coming from. Oh. Right, as in they got them from somewhere else, do you mean? Does that happen a lot? Oh. Maybe the Tamiya and Trumpeter shared parts for tanks and things, and throw in the odd fret for each other occasionally, but I didn't know the whole caboodle. Afternoon Beyond Hope, long time subscriber and first time stream viewer. Oh, thank you very much. Good to have you here. FX used a lot of old helikits before. Oh yes, that rings a bell now you mention it. Oh, this is fiddly, 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 fiddly. There's one thing I'm still not looking forward to at all about building any aircraft carrier is the planes. I am not very good at building planes in this teeny-weeny scale, I have to admit. Described since December 2018. Oh, thank you. What was the video that caught your eye? Oh, not long email. Oh. Right, I think it's enough time for the horrible stuff. So, okay, let's have a quick look. So, hopefully you can see. So, we now have railings on the majority of the superstructure. What about that little bit there? Does that get a little bit? No, that's not. I don't need that there. It's okay. Okay, so next is to go around, and if you can see, that's the funnel, the hole, which I painted on the inside and left, gets photo etch grill on top. Then I'm going to wait until I finish painting everything up. But then there's a piece of photo etch that goes around the base here, so that gets a railing. So that's going to be really hard to do. Build a full story 1 to 700 Scunny made with skull and crossbones. Wow. I'm cutting out like this in red one. Ah. Yeah, planes are ridiculous. To actually build a plane, yes. To build a tiny, teeny, weeny plane, it's not much fun. I think. Yeah, here's one of the ones from the Enterprise that sadly fell off when I was taking it back upstairs after filming the 18 ship fleet video. But you can sort of see the scale comparison. Oh, the Forrestal. Thanks, Lima. Yeah, I like the Forrestal. She's a good little kit. Put that back up there. Right. Onwards. Okay, so let's try and do some crazy maths. So we need 2 lots of 3. So 7 centimeters. That's not going to be enough, is it? So okay, so let's go to but hopefully you can see I do take my own advice, and admittedly I'm not using greaseproof paper for glue, in this case Gorilla Super Glue, but I do stick it on there and wipe things through. I'm sure there's other ways of doing it, but this way works for me. Right, so let's try and work this out. So what about there? I'll have to roll this around. Sorry, just concentrating, no chit chat. Okay, that's about right. Blimey, let's go. Yes, so the plan is, yes, I'll do the photo etch on this fella. And I think to sort of mix it up here, I think I'll finish this bit here. And then I'm going to, I've done a bit of a test on the flight deck of the Forrestal using some Flora Models dark dirt wash on what the wood sections would be. So I'll show you the before and after of that, and then we can see if we can do a bit of live wiping off at the same time, because that could be quite a good case for show and tell. So come on, you. Are you going to stick on there? Okay. Get some of the excess off. All right, cross your fingers. Wow, nailed it. Is that a shining thing? Yeah, there we go. So that's that bit there. Nice bit of raining action. So I just need to let it dry a bit, and then try and sort of it's extended a little bit further than I wanted it to. So I might have to just do a little snip with the pliers, get rid of that overspill. Come on. There we go. Silence, it's time to concentrate. I know, I'm so sorry. It's hard doing this, talking and modelling at the same time. Never done it before. He says with nervous laughter. So yeah, so that's good. Right, so I think I'll leave that to dry for a mo. We can come back to that. So let's clear the decks, and then we can get the main hull down. Put that there. Put that there. How did I do, Matthew, to get back on the Ticonderoga? Oh, that's good. I mean, I have to say, I have my moments as well. I've sort of, YouTube is a very clever thing, because if you start watching other videos, like the last few days, I've been watching videos about how to fix a Mac computer, and as soon as you start doing that, your recommended pages start changing over to things about Macs as opposed to video, so I completely understand. And it's good to get it get back in the swing of things. Okay, so you haven't really seen much of this before, recently. So here is the Intrepid in all its red, grey, and light grey glory. So what we've got here across the top is so the first thing I did for I primed it, and then I masked it off. So this light grey and this here is what's left of the old wooden flight deck. So I masked it all off and I painted it with a very light grey by Mr. Hobby. So that there, and then this bit here, and then sprayed the rest of it a much darker grey. So when I start lighting it up, it is quite large, I have to say, but it's not too big. You can carry it with one hand still. It's just it looks bigger than it is. That's a wide-angle lens. So what I used on here is went over the bits you can see here. So this bit's been weathered. This has not been weathered. So you can see, hopefully, in the same shot, the two different color differences. I used Flooring Models Dark Wash. Catch a bit of light there, which is the same stuff that I used for my Star Destroyer about 2 years ago. So it's a clay-based wash. So the idea is you paint what you need to wash, leave it to dry, and then, which takes about 20 minutes. It's quite warm in here today, the heating on, and then you literally wipe away the excess. You might need to give it a bit of a dab of water with a brush just to, as people say, wake up the wash, and then you can wipe it all away. So the idea being you end up with not only the lines here, the vertical lines, sorry, the horizontal lines, but you can also get the little, they must be tie down points, but the little dots you can see. So thought it'd be a bit fun if I do this bit here, do this live on camera. And I have to be very careful because I've already knocked this off twice, but I painted the rudder, which if you put, the reason I left it off in the first place is while you're handling the ship, if you put it down on its base, the rudder is lower than the bottom of the hull. So I've knocked it off about 3 times. So you have to be very careful with how you do it. Right, so put this down, so it's springy. Yes, the sunken and now found Hornet. Yeah, I've been following it in the I was going to say the papers then, that show my age. Following it on various groups and things. It looks quite good to be able to see it, and I didn't know it was quite lost for so long, to be honest. I hadn't quite realised. Right, so hopefully that's not too bright. Let's something else under this as well. It's very big. Okay, that'll do. Right, so let's try and do this. So Flora wash, give it a bit of a shake. I'm going to be very careful because you don't want to. You can very, very bubblify it if you too much shaking, which you don't want to do. You just want to basically get the bits out the bottom. Right, I have to roll my sleeves up. Getting serious now. Yeah, just use a wide brush, one that you don't mind getting utterly filthy, and just make a start basically. So let's try and do this without making as much mess as humanly possible. Oh, I forgot to say before I put the wash on, so I sprayed the light grey, sprayed the dark grey, left it for a couple of days, and then gave it 2 wet coats of Humbrol Clear about 20 minutes apart. Left it to dry for about an hour and a half, or maybe 2 hours, I think it was, and then gave it another coat and left that to dry for for about 3 days before I even touched it again. So you want to do that so you don't ruin your lovely painting expertise and skills underneath. That's the last thing you need to see. So it's mega shiny, but it also helps with the not just this wash, but then it's a good base for the decals when you get to them. Sunk in the Battle of Santa Cruz Islands. Yeah, there's a lot of that going around these days. So yeah, you can be reasonably, not slapdash, but don't worry about it too much. Just try and, as they say, we sort of paint by numbers. Try and stay between the lines. Because what is good is, I'm not sure you can see it yet, you might see it a bit later, but there's detail on here that I didn't even know was there. There's arrows in the flight deck here in the wood, which presumably will have come through when we move on to the decals of this on the flight deck. That's a good thing about wash, I suppose. It brings things to life a bit more. Yeah, so that's the plan. So basically, do this wash, rub it down, and then leave it to dry for a good couple of days before going over to and yet another coat, or possibly two actually, might go two. And let it all sink in. Catch up. So have I thought about doing an Enterprise CV6? I have thought about it. I haven't thought about it a lot, I have to admit. I think it's on the list of ships I'd like to do. I think it's just some sort of matter of logistics, really. I think if I did it, I'd like to do the big, I can't remember the brand, I want to say Gallery, but the 1:350 scale one looks quite nice. But not intentionally, no, just haven't got around to it. Hi, War Game. Yay, finally made it live. Good to hear from you. And Zaid, you're not late, don't worry. We've been doing it for nearly an hour, so we're going to have plenty of time. I think girls should be back about 4, so hopefully we can try and do this bit before that. You're watching me assemble a carrier when you're making your own. Ah, look at that. Life imitating art, imitating life. Love it. Well, on the stream we had on Wednesday, one of my patrons, Charles, who's actually building a model while listening to me then. I hadn't thought about that, so that's quite a fun thing to do. Yeah, so hopefully you understand if I'm not pushing, subtly pushing, and pushing is the wrong word possibly, but subtly promoting the patron page, because the patron sort of helps me put funds towards buying these kits. If you didn't see the stream on Wednesday, basically we have life has sort of overtaken in the last few weeks. Had a broken hot water tank, which needed fixing. My daughter fell over, nearly broke her wrist, and our conservatory doors broke. So yeah, short version, had to spend about £800 to take my daughter to the hospital, all in the space of about a week. So just what you need in the start of the new year. So £800 doesn't leave you a lot of model making money. So I'll say it once and I'll leave it. If you'd like to be a patron and help me support the channel, that'd be fantastic. I'll put some links in the description below. And it would be an enormous help, basically. Right, I'll be right back. I'm just going to wash my brush. Right, so as you can see, We now have very wet wash on the bow section. I can see it's already starting to dry, which is good. So head back over to what we need to do next on the island section and leave this to dry, and hopefully we can then rub it away and move on. So just sort of give you a quick rundown of the other parts of the ship before we put it away. Ooh. So if you haven't already seen it, yes, painted the anti-fouling red. So this is a new set of colours for me. This is the Mr. Hobby. I'll have to dig it out for the proper video, but so sort of whole red stroke chocolatey brown. I put in a few drops of deep yellow paint just to sort of slightly change it based on a slightly mottled underside of the black there, just to give it a bit of variation. And then sort of try and make it a bit my own and sort of done it slightly. Oh, look, there you go, broken off. Boo! Oh well, at least it didn't fall and I trod on it. So yeah, let's try and, how am I going to do this? There you go. So I'm not entirely sure if it's factually accurate, but it looked pretty cool, I think. Okay, so leave him to dry for a little bit. But yeah, you can see some of the details. So I've sort of gone round, started painting in the inlays for some of these fellas along the side. All of this is going to have railing put on at some point, which is going to be an absolute nightmare. I'm still in two minds whether or not to get the platinum version or the normal version and just get some extras like the photo etch and the wood deck, because I think not only is the platinum version incredibly expensive, at least here in the UK, but you still have to buy extra bits on top, like metal barrels. I don't think you should have to pay £280 for a model kit and get another £20 set on top of it from the same company. That does seem a bit daft, to be honest, but yes. So I did say I wouldn't push Patreon anymore, so that's 2 in 2 minutes, so I'll leave it there. But that's what I set it up for initially. Right, so let's go back over to the island. So what's next? Okay, so what do we need to do next, James? What do we need to do next? So I should have the instructions. Okay, so let's get a look at the instructions. Okay, so hopefully you can see some of this. So this is the instruction set. Right, try and work out where I am. So, don't touch the wet brush. Okay, so I've done that bit, I've done that bit, I've done that bit. This is quite cool, although annoying thing because it's a photo etched at a window, which is pretty cool. But it's just the frames. You then have to put windows of some description in. And I know you can use white glue to make some sort of like film across the windows that you can paint over, but not sure. I have to come back to that one. So put on what will be the numbers, the 11 on the side of the island here. So that's done, that's done, that's done. That's the grill for the funnel that I mentioned earlier. So I'll spray that and I'll stick that on towards the end. I've done that. So I've left these off. These are probably the next thing to do. So I think these are sort of the part of the range finding gear, navigation equipment. So there's 2 of these, which I need to build up, and a couple of antenna and small bits and bobs, which will go on to the, it's really hard upside down. They will go on here, yes. So the 2 small cylinders you saw at the front and the back of the island, that's where they're going to go. And some of the smaller fiddly bits interesting to see when I'm actually going to try and start doing that, because I think I'm going to get to the point soon where I want to paint it. So I think I'm going to put these on, put that together, put that on, put that on, put these little bits on, all of that. Maybe not these two tiny little photo etch antennae, because they're guaranteed to fly away as soon as you do that. You can go on, and then it starts sticking this thing together, so that could be quite good. And then another little ladder there. So we're getting together, it's getting there. It's a long way to go, although I've only got 2 pages left, so to speak, for the island, and then obviously it needs painting up. So let's do that. Let's go crazy, James. Right, so what do we want to do? We want PE Pop B40. Okay, so doing this on my own. So I want you PB40. Right, okay. This is going to be a bit of a gamble, so let's try this. So cut you off on there, and one there. And one there. And one there. And then, yeah, once I've sort of done the mucky stuff on the island and the wash and all the bootstrapping of the main hull, then I'm going to spray the railings like this one here. Hopefully you can see that. So that goes right to the stern. So I'll stick those bits on last, because they're guaranteed to fly away into the ether. Question about the airplanes. Those are made from transparent plastic and PE, just from the grey one. The Intrepid comes with plastic, clear plastic ones. I haven't got any photo etch for it. There might be some in the kit, but I haven't bought extra, if you know what I mean. Right, clean this fella up. It is very hard to do. So when you're looking, especially when you're doing it live, I have to admit, but to clean up your photo etch, because you do not want to have little niggly bits sticking out, especially on like things like railings, which will then prove really hard to lie flat. So you don't want to do that. Okay, so let's think. What do we need to do? So again, I'm just looking at reference photos. So here we go. Okay. War games. We've done a dilemma, which is better. Clear plastic, so the glass of the cockpit is more realistic. Or, oh, I see what you mean. I would. I think I did it on this one. Yeah, this is very old, but on the Enterprise, I would put smoke. I use Tamiya smoke paint over the canopy. Just, it's cheating. You don't need to see inside. They're tiny. You can see how big it is in the palm of my hand, and that's a pretty decent sized plane. So I add. I hope I said that right. So I add. So yeah, I would put it. I would use smoke. Give it a test, basically. I think just to paint it up. I wouldn't. You'd be Tamiya Smoke X19. That's the one. you go round in circles trying to sort of mask that off. They're so small. I'm sure some other guys would highly recommend it, but I think a lot of what I find about sort of building aircraft carriers is, I think it's been called the pantomime effect. And what I mean by that is you can see tons of detail really, really close on these ships, but you don't really end up getting too close when people come around and go, oh, what's that? So you're probably sort of standing from the sort of 3 or 4, even 5 feet away. You won't see it. So it's sort of, it's where to draw the line. You know, I think you could argue life is a bit too short to sort of mask off 40 odd planes and mask them and then paint them all differently. But I think having the smoke paint is a really good idea, personally. Make the Queen Elizabeth. Oh, I'm be near the front of the queue, I can tell you, as soon as I could. I have messaged Airfix a couple of times. They have no plans to build her, sadly. So I think, yeah, we might have to look for other means. But yes, I definitely would like to build that. Right, I'm not sure how to build this yet, so let's have a look. So I need to fold him in half. Right, okay, here we go. So get the old trusty, overpriced but good Tamiya bending pliers. Project Habbock UK. No, I've not heard of that. What is that? Sorry, this is mega fiddly. The trouble is with this is instructions don't really help. Okay, and there's a bit extra cut off there. So that needs to go there. Is that it? Need some reference photos. Gotta love a reference photo. Right, so that goes like that. And that is definitely going to snap already. Okay, so need to be a bit careful here. So all I've done is folded this and I have already nearly, there you go, snapped. Okay, right. Don't panic, Mr. Mannering. Those of you from Britain will know exactly what I mean. Those who don't, go and watch Dad's Army. Okay, so Good morning, Devanti. How are you today? I've just snapped off some photo etch. Okay, so up there. And there it goes. Or is it like that? Yes, it's like that. Okay. Good. Not going completely mad. Okay, so what's on there? What's on there? Greetings from Poland. 10:24 in the morning in America. That's East Coast, I guess, isn't it? Queen Elizabeth, yeah, the largest submarine ever, the Typhoon. Yes, I'd like to build that in 1:350 scale. That'd be a pretty cool kit. There was a slight fan fave of Hunt for Red October. So between my Enterprise and Oliver Hazard Perry, all I need now is the and the Los Angeles class. So all I need next is a actual Red October. Yes, East Coast. Good. Okay. Used to live out in the East Coast of America when I was little. Yeah, we lived in Riverside, Connecticut for just over 4 years, many moons ago. Right. Sorry, it's very interesting to look at, but yeah, breaking photo etch is not quite what I had in my head. Still working on my USS Virginia. What did you think of the movie Hunter Killer? Oh, I watched about half an hour of it and got bored, I have to say. Very random film. That set, is that just a random harbour? That doesn't look anything like Russia to me, I have to say. Sorry. Not his finest hour. Right, okay, so this seems to be a little bit more like it. So let's get back the island. So it's going to go here. And sorry, there's nowhere on Earth I'm going to be able to do this backwards. Hi, Bob. -20? Oh, definitely, yeah. That's an indoor day. Oh, -20 sounds freezing. The General Pulowski? I didn't know that. Okay, so I think this little fella, that goes there, that goes there. God, what's that supposed to do? This is a nightmare. So that pointing up. And then just sort of stick it on the side. Right, okay. So the instructions aren't very good, as I said. So that there in the middle is go from that shape to that, and then just stick it on there. So yeah, hopefully you can understand if we just go with artistic license on this. So okay, so we need 4 drops of glue, right. So I think we'll finish this bit up, and then hopefully the wash on the flight deck will have dried. Okay. A 90mm AA again falling from your desk. Oh, crikey, that is ridiculously small, I'd imagine. New build idea, USS Zumwalt. Ah, yes, I've seen. I think it's either 3D printed or a resin kit. I think I've seen one of those. What do you guys have in a real sub showdown, Akula or Virginia? There's a little operating sea, a Los Angeles class still snooping around. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Okay, look, so here we go. Can you see that? Oh, up against my jumper. So yeah, not 100% sure if that's exactly the right place. It's attaching in 4 places as it should do. No, I don't think I made it that far into the movie. I remember thinking, why is Gary Oldman in this? A lot of it. And the other guy is no more an admiral than I am. I think maybe because I watched him in something else not so long ago. Is he in John Wick? Yeah, so let's leave that to dry, and hopefully, it's pretty solid. Hopefully I can not destroy it and knock it off. So yeah, that's quite cool actually. Try and get... It's amazing stuff, photo etch. Okay, so let's have another little tidy. Put some stuff away, and then I'll get a few bits of paper towel, and we can see if the wash is dried. And indeed it has. Yeah, pretty much. Right, let's get some water. Okay, so what we'll do is basically, so this is dry now. It's not 100% dry. You can see a little bit coming off my finger, but it's basically pretty dry. So what we need to do is sort of wake it up. So we're going to put on some just plain old water. Just spread it all over. Give it a jazz up. And then, just with nothing more than good old-fashioned toilet roll. So good tip is to make sure you don't go too far one way against the grain, sorry, along the grain. You want to go against the grain to get all the detail through. Because if you go with the grain, you'll wipe everything away. Last little bit of water here and there. And the tricky spots. So there you go. It's a bit different, isn't it? I'll try and get a shot for you. Yeah, so, oh, come on, focus. Yeah, so I didn't know, you might be able to see it here. So here you can see, oh wait, there's a little arrow. Didn't know that was there before the wash. You can see much better some of what the details would be when you put the transfers on. Oh, sorry, the decals, especially this fella up here. Did not know that was there. Fab. Okay, well, look, I think we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. And yeah, I'm not going to be able to promise to be able to do this every Saturday afternoon, but then every now and then, if I get a window in advance, I'll share with you, try and get some international viewers to see where you all are. So I hope you have a good rest of the day today and a good weekend. And yes, I'm really much looking forward to going down to Portsmouth on Monday. Take lots of photos, been charging up the GoPros, and we'll have a multi-camera action thing going on. Yeah, looking forward to it. So stay tuned. Thanks again for all your support and subscribing and everything. It means a great deal. I mean, yes, it's sort of slowed down a little bit in the last couple of weeks, but yeah, hurtling towards 5,000 subscribers, which is fantastic. So I still can't quite believe it. So many people watch my little videos, but thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.